Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, you're thinking on going to the Mediterranean. So I got some tips and some warnings about going to the Med because it might not always be exactly what you think it is. Okay, so picture in your mind, you're taking a luxury trip to the Mediterranean, whether it's by hotel or by cruise. You're picturing beautiful sunny skies. You're picturing beautiful coastlines of Greece. You're picturing, I don't know, spending most of your time in a pool, in your bikini, in your bathing suits, drinking Mai Tais, whatever it is, and it's all picturesque and everything. And it can be. It absolutely can be. However, sometimes for instance, on a cruise, you're going to want to get off that cruise and you're seeing all these photos and things on shore excursions and trips and Viator and all these places that just look beautiful. You just want to go and see it. I mean, come on. You're going to Athens. You're going to want to see the Acropolis. You're going to see Olympia. You want to go see all the different places in Greece. You just want to see all these things. So now you have to decide what to do. Okay, so let's say you book some shore excursions and you're going to head out on a trip. So here's my first advice to you. Don't book excursions that are like 8 hours long, because there are plenty of them. You're going to spend the majority of your time on a bus, heading to locations. And quite often those locations will be a very quick little stop and then shopping. And then back on a bus. And let me just tell you one thing now. I was on 5 different tour buses in Greece. And none of them would have what you call air conditioning. In fact, we were on one bus, and behind us were a family with some young teenage daughters. They must have been 16 or 17. And they were complaining the whole time, thinking they're going to drop dead of dehydration, and because there was air conditioning. You could feel there was something there, but it's like you're holding one of those little fans that you hold in your hand and just doing this. It was not air conditioning. It was a light breeze. Trust me, it was not comfortable on those buses at all. So I was on the bus for about 35 minutes for these tours. We went to shorter excursions, and we were just drenched by the time we get off those buses. And so I highly recommend not going on long excursions. And if you are going on these excursions, bring lots of water with you. Absolutely, especially in the summertime. Like it was, 90 to 100 degrees every single day. I saw people bringing around those ice packs, the ones that you can just, they don't need freezing or anything like that, and you just snap them like this, and there's a chain chemical reaction inside, and they get cold, so they could put it on the back of their head and on their forehead to cool off. And they were carrying around some of those in their backpack. Great idea. Wish I'd have thought of it. But I don't get bothered too much by heat or anything like that, but my friends were, and they were definitely feeling the heat. Okay, that's the first thing. Don't expect air conditioning on many of the buses at all. And then you have other choices to get around to places besides the shore excursions offered by the cruise lines. Now again, the good news is that if you book a shore excursion through the cruise line, if something happens, the bus is late, the bus breaks down, you're guaranteed to get back to the ship. The ship's not going to leave without you. They know you're on that excursion, and they're going to make sure you get back to the ship before they leave. That's the guarantee. Now, hop on, hop off buses. That's a completely different story. And let me tell you about my experience, especially on one hop-off bus when we got to Malta. But before I get there, let me just invite you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, or make sure that it is still saying subscribe, because sometimes they just unsubscribe you for no reason on YouTube. And hit that notification bell so you're notified that, hey, there's another video out, which, by the way, is basically every single day for almost 3 years now. I can't believe I'm still doing this. But it'll just keep you up to date with all things cruising, from the news, from the excursions, from tips and tricks, to all things just to keep you informed for your next cruise so you're better prepared, like what might happen to you, like what happened to us when we were on a hop-on, hop-off bus heading into Malta. So let me tell you that story. We saw that there's 3 lines for hop-off buses in Malta, and there were also numerous taxis that would take you to different places. But obviously the taxis were more expensive, but they would drive you there direct. And we said, well, you know what? There's only a couple places we want to see, and they're all on one of the lines. So we asked, they said, okay, how long is it by bus to get there? They said it's about 40 minutes to our first stop, which is supposedly a quaint little fishing village. And we said, okay, great, little fishing villages, looks cute, maybe we'll grab some lunch. Then we can hop on the bus again and we head out to what's called the Blue Grotto, which is a swimming hole area, very popular in Malta. And then there were a couple other stops, like the Co-Cathedral, back closer to the cruise port, where we could get off and then walk back to the cruise ship. Sounded like the perfect plan. Okay, first off, they said the bus runs every 30 minutes. We arrived at the bus stop at 20 after. We waited, and we waited, and we waited, and the bus left at 10 after. So that's not 30 minutes, that's 50 minutes. So we're already 20 minutes behind. Now it starts driving through traffic. And it's hot. There is 0 air conditioning on this bus. As well as, up top, there is no cover over your head. You can see here in some of these pictures, people were trying to cover their necks and their heads with anything they had on them, including the brochures for the hop-on, hop-off buses. And we were piling on the sunscreen. It was hot and sweaty, and we were barely moving in the bus. There was so much traffic, and we were stopping at all these little spots that they didn't say we were going to stop at along the way to pick up more people. It got crowded on this bus, and we didn't get to our first stop, which was supposed to be 40 minutes away, until an hour and a half. Okay. So we finally got to our supposing first stop. It's the quaint little fishing village. Does this look like a fishing village to anybody? No directions, no guides, no nothing. I'm not impressed with the hop-on, hop-off in Malta right now. Not at all. So we're double the time to get to our first stop. The troubling part is they said the whole loop of this bus was 3 hours long, but we were already an hour and a half into it, and we were nowhere near the end of this line. And the line did not go north and south, it went in one direction. So we started getting concerned at saying, you know what, if it's like this for every stop, there's no way we're going to be able to make other stops. We're not going to be able to get from one place to another and then back to the cruise ship in time. Remember, this is a hop-on, hop-off bus. It's not guaranteed by the cruise. So if you're not back, you're not back, and they're going to leave without you. And the bad thing is this was our shortest day in port. Malta was our shortest day that the ship stayed in port for the fewest hours. So we said, okay, we'll walk around the fishing village, which was basically not what it looked like. It's more of like, hey, shop here. We got honey, we got fabrics, we got all this. Just come and shop. That's what it was. Oh, okay, more shopping. So we said, well, we really want to see the Co-Cathedral. That's what we really wanted to go back and see. We're going to skip the Blue Grotto. The heck with the hop-on, hop-off bus. Let's go take a taxi back to that. The heck with what it costs. So we walk over to the taxi stand, and there's a space there for like 7 taxis, and they're all blocked off. Taxi, taxi, taxi. There was even a taxi sitting there. And we went up and we said, "Oh, are you available?" He says, "No, I'm waiting for customers here. They booked me for the day and everything." So, "Oh, okay. Can you call somebody? Can you get on a radio and say there's clients here ready to go?" And he said, "No, we can't do that. We can't do that." We stood there for 40 minutes. And still not a single taxi showed up at the taxi stand in this fishing village. So now we're going crazy. And luckily, there was a very nice gentleman at this restaurant. I'll show you the sign. And this gentleman's name was Roz. And he explained that you can't call, you can't do anything, but they have Uber now. Uber was new in Malta for only a week since we arrived. And the taxis are not happy about Uber. Well, at this point, I wasn't happy with the taxi driver because he wouldn't even call somebody and say, "Hey, there's some clients, if anyone wants to pick them up, they're going here." He wouldn't even do that for us. And I'm going, are you kidding me? What taxi line doesn't do that? Who doesn't want money? So we decided, with the help of Roz, he got us signed into the restaurant's internet because you needed the password and everything. We weren't eating there. And he got us an Uber, and the Uber dropped us right off at the Co-Cathedral. Took us 15 minutes to get there. Well worth the money. So if you're in Malta from now on, you can use an Uber, and you know what? They were much nicer than the taxi driver I dealt with, so I'm going to recommend Uber, and I don't normally do that. You know, everybody has their own choice. I take taxis all the time. So, yeah, but I could not believe that they did that. So here's my tip if you're in places like this, Malta. Do not trust the hop-on, hop-off bus times on longer hop-on buses. If they're only going to be like an hour route, you can trust them a lot more than routes that are supposed to be 3 hours, especially driving through cities. Because this bus went nowhere near anywhere, not to mention that they dropped us off in the middle of nowhere with no sign saying where the fishing village was. We were in a back alley somewhere, and we just happened to see people further down coming back looking for the bus stop that we knew where to go. Otherwise, there was no direction whatsoever. So yeah, in Malta, not going to recommend the hop-on, hop-off buses at all. Take those taxis to the destination. Pay the taxi to wait for you. It probably, when you're 3 or 4 people in a taxi, probably works out to the same price as your hop-on, hop-off bus in all. So, yeah, I didn't have a good experience. Let's just put it that way. Hot, sweaty buses, no air conditioning, service was late, driver was horrible, and dropped us off in the middle of nowhere. And, yeah, how can I recommend that whatsoever? The hop-on, hop-off buses in Greece, much shorter routes, and they were fine. Again, warning, if you look on some of them, they do have covers on the top. Some of them don't. You don't want the ones that have no cover on the top. You also don't want the ones with little windows on the side that you see open near the top, just along the slit along the top, because those ones don't have air conditioning. You want the ones with no window up top and they're all closed, then you know there's air conditioning on that bus. That's my last tip for hop-on, hop-off buses in the Mediterranean and shore excursions. I can't recommend the long excursions because those buses were not air conditioned at all. And you are gonna roast. That's all I'm gonna say. You're gonna roast. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. We'll see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world. Hit that subscribe button. Till next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.